Remembering that there's bigger opportunity, and all that opportunity is on the other side of some massive growth.
Build a business that is so robust and profitable that will make them more income than any one of the three founders.
It started with the idea of building something that other people could leverage and get the same thing that we want.
To me, if something's hard, it means I can't do it. If I can do it, it's easy.
I have heard this. I've built a business around this concept. It has not changed. It is a two very basic, simple metrics that we can focus on.
We're talking about having an actual blueprint for something that will work and will last for a long term. So I'm not saying that all of my ideas, Brian, are the best ideas in the world. Now, I know when it comes to insurance, we have some really good ones. So excited to be on this call this month. You know, as we're pulling the entire master agency back together, we're sharing the wealth of opportunity, right, Brian? Like, that's been the tagline for this company from day one, and something that you and I, going back to 2011, right, where like that was the sole purpose whenever we came together, is how can we share the wealth of opportunity? And so just excited to be getting an opportunity to do this with you, with Mr. Griff Martin, with Brad Smith, and very excited for our special guest. Make sure that he can get on. We've got people searching for him. Once he walks in, there he is.
Right.
Speak of the angelic hosts coming down and gracing us with his presence. Mr. Casey Watkins, good to see you, sir.
Good to see you guys. Always good to see this team.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, I just want, but before we jumped right into it, I just wanted to make sure that you were here so that we didn't like hit on just a couple of things that Brian, Griff, myself, and Brad want to share. We just wanted to hit some highlight numbers for the master agency, just where we are. As we do this on a regular basis, guys, we're going to be talking about like how we're growing, what you're out there doing. We want to be able to highlight those stories. Like, if you have like something that you're just like, man, this is I'm killing it on this. This is happening. This is what's going. Like, we want to use this as an opportunity to celebrate you. Right. So let your agency owners know, let Brian know, let Griff know, let Brad know. If there's something like, man, the whole team needs to hear this, this is the place that we want to be able to share that, right? Where we can come together. Like, we hear that from Symmetry Corporate, right? Like, we get that from the corporate standpoint on a weekly basis. But we want to be able to celebrate what's happening here. And it's been a pretty phenomenal, like, as we look back over the last couple of months, Brian, like there's something different in the air, and it's been it's very visible. It's very visible right now. So definitely want to get your comments on this. Griff, your comments as well. I know, Brad, you're going to be sharing a lot more here in a little bit, but just wanted to share just a couple of things in case, just so you know where our master agency is right now and kind of what we're pushing for. But finishing up for this master agency, finishing up the month of September, our cap, right? Capped and submit. Like, if we uncapped it, like we could show some good numbers. I like to go with the cap, right, bro? I like to go with the cap because like it just gives me some more to push for. And the fact that we're like 8,000 away as a master organization from $4 million, like where we're getting back to the point where like it's $1 million a week. Right, it's $1 million plus a week, and we were talking about this earlier, Brian, and there's certainly that possibility for this organization by the end of this year with some of the things. And I really the last slide that I have here is what you've talked about with your team, and I hope I would love to get you to share it with everybody here. But how much they can grow their personal revenue just by doing a certain amount of premium per week for the rest of this year. Right, like as we're counting down the year. So definitely want you to be able to share on that. But this organization right here, we could be doing 1.3, 1.4, 1.5 million a week, like in a very short period of time, which is kind of crazy to think, Casey, that we're in a business that you can grow by 50% in a quarter. Like, we've seen it happen. We've seen it happen. We've seen it happen multiple times. And to be in that place where we are right now is extremely, extremely exciting and compelling. And this is for, as we break down the 4 master agencies that make up this organization. Mr. Delaney, congratulations, month of September, 1.4 million for you and the team. Mr. Martin was $684,000. Again, we're still saying, I'm still gonna give the caveat, captain submit, because somebody's gonna be like, well, no, my numbers were higher than that. I get it. This is capping each application, 7,500. That's the most we're counting per application. So that everybody understands what we mean by that. The Pritchett direct organization with 305,000, and the Smith, I think it's pretty tight. So Brad, don't get too comfortable in the number 1 spot there for right now.
Get real comfortable, Brad. Get real comfortable. Slow down if you want, because do whatever. Keep running. We got you,
Brad. You need a vacation, Brad. You know,
yeah,
take
right.
some time.
No vacation coming.
$1.55 million for the month of September. And does everybody know what October is? Like, that September, it was exactly October. We got 5 weeks this month. We got 5 weeks of turn-ins this month. So looking forward to where we're going to be going, and we'll get these numbers out and continue to share this as we continue to go. And Brian, this is what I wanted you to talk about. Like, we have, for the rest of this year, it's not really 13, it's like 13 weeks as far as submit, right, of what we can submit left in this year. But I'd love for you to share you brought this to all of our attention. How can you impact your income right now? What kind of impact just going out and helping families, right? Doing what we say we're going to do every single day, what that can do just in this last quarter. This is the 4th quarter. This is it for the year of 2025. If we're going to get something done in 2025, it's probably time to go ahead and do it, right? You're not going to have much left of 2025 to do something. But Brian, I want to turn over because you brought this to our attention. I think it's beautifully stated, and I love how you're talking about this right now with your team, and would love for you to share that with the team at large as we're all working to build our $1 million business.
Absolutely. And first and foremost, just so grateful for your leadership, Edward, and you calling me up to this company literally 5 different times. And now that we've been, now that this business, this month, we're in the month of October, this is now 15 years that we've been doing this business together. And I got to see Edward Pritchett when he was making about $24,000 a year in a very sad room with very sad agents with a very sad company. Before he got to SFG, before we got to come here, we were sitting around this conference table that we bought. we bought, and we decided to own that when they closed that office down. And they closed that office down. One of the reasons they closed that office down is because there's people of impact in a business, and Edward was one of those people of impact. And after he quit, like, he trained, a lot of you know the story, he trained me for 1 day at this company, one day at that, and then he left. And they told me he went on vacation. And I was like, he went on vacation? And he never came back from vacation. I just didn't know what they meant when he went on vacation to go start working with SFG, is what he did. He went on vacation to meet with Casey Watkins and learn how to build a bridge over to the world of stopping trading time for money. And for some of you, there's a couple of things coming, and it might feel like dread. It might feel like dread, but it's really opportunity. It might feel like pressure, but it's actually a privilege. And the opportunity here is that there are holidays that are coming up, and you're going to have the money for gifts. There's a new year that's coming up that you have an opportunity right now through your work to make sure it's not like any other new year. Right? You can set resolutions right now. You can set resolutions right now to make sure you never have to stop in a year and set resolutions with regret. There are resolutions for opportunity, and there are resolutions with regret. And this is a resolution that we can make for ourselves for opportunity. Because I heard somebody say, oh, this business has changed. And I heard some other people say, oh, this business has changed, right? It's amazing how the same stimulus can create a whole different response. And here's a great stimulus is for you to understand 13 weeks left in 2025. What are you going to do with them? How are you going to discipline and grow your capacity? by growing your income and setting new records in income every single week, every single month, and in this last quarter to win it. So 3.5. That just got real
All right.
small, Edward.
We-
You're trying to test my old ass eyes. So
Apologies.
I stared in the sun for too long, right? So 3,500 in a week, 47,000 in deposits. 5,000 in a week, 67,000 in deposits. 7,500 in a week, 101,000 in deposits. 10,000 in a week, 135,000 in deposit. 12,500, 169,000 in deposits. 15,000 per week, every week for the rest of the month. You might say that's impossible. For me, can you end it with now? Could it be more possible next week? 15,000, 203,000. There are people right now who are getting laid off, but they think they're getting laid off, but they're actually getting fired. And it's going to be the best thing that ever happened to them, because that's going to be the opportunity. The obstacle is that they're getting fired or laid off. The opportunity is for them to get out of their comfort zone and become sick and tired of being sick and tired, become sick and tired of waiting for the new year to make promises they're only going to break in the spring, and to really become resolved that this year is going to be unlike every year, and we get to start to plant the seeds right now. And the commitment starts with knowing these numbers, but here's where the commitment really starts. If I'm the type of person who's saying, well, and I learned this from Casey Watkins, he said, we don't start preparing for a race until we sign up. See, I always wanted to lose weight before I committed to the gym membership, but it never worked. It never worked. Not one time, right? I'll get the gym membership after I lose weight, right? See, it was my financial commitment into the future that paid dividends in my present, because there's never been a single person who's ever regretted the future. It's only been the regret of the past that has haunted us for years afterward. And today is the day we can decide not to regret the past, but hope in the future and start planning for it in the present right now and today. And I just want to thank Casey Watkins for allowing us to have the opportunity with the other co-founders to say, now's not a good time, but now's a good opportunity, because time might be held outside of ourselves, but opportunity is held right here.
Man.
And,
So,
and I just want to give a shout out to a couple of people, because it's been an amazing month, and this is a starting place for us. We have so much commitment on the table. We've got people who are just absolutely crushing it on getting on making the commitments and keeping their commitments to themselves. We've got people who are popping into the top 5. We've got leaders who are reaching out. I love what Shaquina and Johnny Cleveland are doing right now. They're just building this thing like crazy. I love what Kip and Marin are doing. They're just building this thing like crazy. They're growing. They're leading from the front. I love to see Ian Graham on Wednesday leading from the front with resets and doing things at an absolute next level. I love to see what Jordan Hunt's agency is. They're not allowing frustration to be the end of the story. They're allowing adaptability to be the main character, and they're adapting to get to the next level. You see Luke Jackson on here still pretending like his first name is Steven for some reason. He's just trying to cause confusion. Man just had a baby and he's here. Man, like, not, he didn't have, Holly had the baby, but he was a part of it. The fun part, but he was a part of it, and he's still here, right? He's still here. We got leaders who are growing like. Here's the thing. Gino went on maternity leave or paternity leave. He went on paternity leave, and he's still writing like 100,000. He's still like writing 100,000 every quarter, right? Still writing 100,000 every quarter as an agency director. We have Kashan Monteith, who they're blowing the doors off with Jim Russman with Ready to Write. We have so many people on the squad who are just doing things at a next level. The Spieldenner Financial Group, here's one of the proudest things about this. On November 9th, it'll be 4 years since Jimmy passed away. His team is in a better spot than it's been in a long time. Breaking out new writers direct. This is not just about becoming a legend in your own mind. It's becoming a legacy in not only with SFG, but in the industry, because of not only what you can do, but what you can impact other people to do. Watching so many people be reinvigorated, re-inspired, and come out of the, right? Because sometimes that self-employed could say semi-retired, right? Like, remembering that there's bigger opportunity, and all that opportunity is on the other side of some massive growth, and we're all here for it. Watching Josh Busick just take it to another level. I started naming names. I'm going to regret it. right? We saw all these people at AOA2 going to the next level. And listen, if I forgot your name, make sure I never forget it again.
Love it. Love it. Mr. Martin, how you feeling this morning before we bring Mr. Watkins on to teach us exactly how to build $1 million business from the blueprint that he's laid out for us? I mean, part of it is, Brian, to exactly what you're like. It's the people that we have here that allow us to do this, and what people are willing to reach in and pull out of themselves. Danny Young says it all the time, right? What Symmetry does a really good job of is allowing you to get what is already inside of you to actually come out. But it does take some work on our parts as well in order to make that happen. Symmetry can't do it on its own. But Griff, how's the Martin Agency feeling these days?
Man, so many good things, right? So many good things. And you can see it just in the chat box alone. The chat box, just read the chat box. Take a minute, just look through all the gratitude, look through the excitement, right? If you're not feeling that level of excitement, you've got to find it. You got to dig deep and figure out what's going to get you excited about this business, right? What is going to do it? I'm fired up. My name is Griff Martin, direct to you, Edward Pritchett, as well as the company, and very grateful to be on this call and to hear from Casey Watkins, a man who I've learned so much from. And the topic today, being around the two boxes, is going to be something that I have heard this. I've built a business around this concept that has not changed, right? It is a two very basic, simple metrics that we can focus on. And our team is doing that right now. We are focused very much on these two metrics. We had a coaching call around it earlier today. Me and Ryan Federico broke it down. We got into groups. We're setting goals. We're running to Ignite, right? Ignite is our focus. I had pretty much my entire team has an index card with the top about 3 to 5 things they're going to focus on that they want to achieve by the time they walk into conference in March. What level of leadership do you want to be? What level of promotion do you want to be? How much money do you maybe want to have made by then? Do you want to qualify for Chase the Ace, right? Like, you can have 4 or 5 things that are that are just going to kind of quiet everything else out, right? When somebody tells you no, it doesn't matter because you're going to Ignite. It doesn't matter because you're going to key leader or team leader or whatever level of leadership you want to be, right? So it's like having that focus. That's what we're thinking about right now. We're super excited, about to get on the road. Bunch of great meetings coming up. We're going to get higher on that. I'm coming for Brad. I'm coming from Delaney. It's been a little while. I'm ready to get right back on top. I'm going to get on top, and I want to make sure this team knows that we're focused on that. But I don't want to take up too much time, so I want to hear from Casey, man. But I appreciate you having me on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Well, let's jump into it. Like what we're going to be hearing today. Like we see the gratitude definitely in the chat. We hear that from Brian, from Grit. Like we all have gratitude for this man because we know where we wouldn't be if it wasn't for what he has done and continues to do. Right. I know 15 years ago when I got to come into a very small office in Swannanoa, North Carolina, and go up some stairs. And Casey, I don't think that you guys didn't even really have the space across the hall yet. Like you were just using it just because because it was empty. And like, oh yeah, we'll do a corporate overview over here.
We'll spread out into this place we're not even paying for right now. Yeah,
exactly. And you shared the wealth of opportunity that the insurance industry has, and looking back 15 years later to be able to say, I'm able to be here with 3 of my business partners and friends and running buddies and journeymen, and all of them have been able to build $1 million businesses because of a blueprint you laid out 15 years ago to me. But it wasn't just that you did that then, it was even before then. You, Brandon, Brian, Meredith, y'all sit down and you said, let's create the blueprint. Let's put this thing together and lay this thing out so that anybody who wants it and who's willing to do certain things and who is willing to be a part of this journey with us has the opportunity to build. And I can remember you guys saying this so many times, build a business that is so robust and profitable that one individual can build a business that will make them more income than any one of the 3 founders makes individually. Like you guys said that so many times, and at first I was like, "Is that are they real? Are they serious? Like, is that really like?" Because that's not
No,
how
I can
more
confidently
business.
say I see those bonus checks monthly on that leaderboard screen, and I promise you there are several of you guys making a decent amount more than me right now. I promise that. There's a
So
difference between cash flow, or equity and that kind of stuff, but still,
well,
amazing amount of like income being made, and that is what we always wanted.
yeah. And so the gratitude, like I mean, that's why the gratitude continues to pour out from us, and what we want to be able to do is to empower others just as you empowered us. And one of the best ways is for people to get it straight from the horse's mouth instead of us regurgitating. Like right, Brian. We don't want to be the. We're not trying to feed baby birds. We're not a bird. We don't eat the food, process, and then regurgitate it into the little baby birds. Nobody wants regurgitated food. Like right? Can we all agree? I don't think anybody on here is looking forward to Brian Delaney just like, okay, just a little bit, right? Nobody wants that. Sorry, not trying to gross anybody out, but I'm trying to make the visual very stick, right? You don't want regurgitated food, right? So we don't want to give regurgitated food to you. You want to give the freshest, the newest to you, your team, and the people that you are able to lead and show. Here's where you can come get. So, Casey, I mean, just starting off, I would love for you to just kind of be able to explain to, we have over 700 people on this call right now. Some of them with us, some of them maybe you're looking at us for the first time. But what was again just that mindset when you guys were sitting down saying, this is going to be $1 million business blueprint? And this isn't like a business blueprint to prove one day. Like you guys are proving it through multiple agency owners, equity partners, direct 130s. So many people have been able to build $1 million businesses because of the blueprint. So how did that come to be? And what is the blueprint? What can people take like as they're going away? And I really I'm not going to talk much. I want you to run with it. What should we be thinking about when it comes to optimizing the blueprint that you guys put into play 16 years ago?
Okay. Well, I love that question because I can go a lot of different areas with that. But thank you guys for having me. Love y'all are on a roll. Love to hear that. Love to see that. See these numbers that you guys are putting up. Yeah, Pritchett, seemed like yesterday we were sitting in that little Mexican restaurant sharing a basket of chips, and kind of stale chips probably at that.
They were salty though.
Yeah, and then you go out and do like 5-6 grand your first week, and then disappear for a month or so to go snowboarding in Canada or something like that. And then I was thinking, well, that's the last time I'll see Edward. And then here we are now. You guys doing, $1 million a week.
Yeah.
So awesome. And so many of you guys that are just like a big part of that $1 million a week. And so just super proud and grateful. And one of my favorite quotes is build things you wish existed. And that's really ultimately what Symmetry, and that's kind of the approach I think that we try to take in everything. It's like that this did not exist when we started the company. If it had existed, we might have tried to plant our flag with a company that had something that felt and looked like this. But when I look at all of you guys and I look at the success and the type of money, not just the amount of money, but the type of money that's being earned, and the more permanent, passive quadrant, if you're a Kiyosaki fan of that language. But this is exactly it. This is what we wish existed. It's right here. And it happens to be in a multi-trillion-dollar industry. And we happen to now be one of, if not the largest player in this space. So, it didn't start with this idea of like $1 million. It started with the idea of building something that other people could leverage and get the same thing that we want. Because chances are what we want is what most people want, which is, back to that time and money definition. So it kind of started more with that than it did start with this like idea of a blueprint for $1 million. It started more with an identity shift and a vision for what we wanted. But as far as the blueprint goes, you guys are in luck because little sneak peek, I have actually been working on something to share with all of you guys that you can now basically have the blueprint. And I've been writing a book, and I'd like to share that with you guys now. Growth. It's filled with all kinds of gems that are just really what you do is you just write your own blueprint in here. And now someone said this to me the other day. I was trying to see y'all's reaction because I'm like, maybe I should write a book if everybody's fired up about it. Someone sent me this in the mail. Like, this is like an actual, it's got like, all kinds of funny stuff in it, but it's completely blank. So I guess they're trying to inspire me to write a book, but I was trying to catch y'all's reaction, but y'all
Have the
made
coupon
me
code? Can I have the
Would
coupon code?
anybody buy that
What's
book?
what's my affiliate code?
Yeah, that's
I don't know. There was some good reaction to it. I think you got at least 500 sold on this already, and it's not even written yet.
It'll at least be a Symmetry bestseller, maybe not a Edward Pritchett Amazon bestseller. But yeah, ask away. Anything you want me to unpack in addition to that, specifically on the building of the agency kind of component.
Yes, sir. All right. So from some of the things that we sent over and we talked about earlier, but in this space, you said a trillion. This is a multi-trillion-dollar now space, life and annuities. The Treasury Department report just came out September 12th. It's a hot read, so if you really want a good fun read, go take a look at that. But 2024, $1.47 trillion in life and annuity premium between obviously the recurring premium and new premium. So and we've seen a lot of personal production happening, Casey, and personal production is great. I know whenever me, Brian, Griff, Brad get together and talk, like personal production is great, but like we got to get back to what built us to where we are, and that's building a business, right? So can you kind of do the juxtaposition? Like it's so easy to get caught on the like, yes, I want to personally produce, because we can do that so easily.
Yeah.
I mean, between switchboard funnel, between like 17 different leads, like there's so much debt-free life, IUL, annuity product, like there's so much production that we can do. Why build? Why build a business? Because you always put it in the sense of like the two boxes, right?
Yeah.
There's the production box and there's the building box. And what you do on the production box, you also do on the building box, but making sure that there's balance between the two. But we definitely see there are a lot of people who like, they just, all production. Or maybe on the other side, flip side, all building and no production. So what do you see, and what have you seen over your time in this industry, and how you see people become successful of being able to do both boxes? And I think the biggest thing that I would love to hear from you is like, why do both boxes? Why is it important? Like whether someone feels like, oh yeah, I want to build a huge agency, or I don't really know if I want to build an agency, why be in both boxes?
Yeah. Well, first of all, you got so many amazing producers. There's no denying that we're in this world now where there's so like, think back, Delaney and Griff, Pritchett, like to what our top leaderboards were like 8 years ago, 5 years ago. I mean, it's just like getting so ridiculous to even tap into the top 10 now, because there are more product types. I think there's more just like a natural hunger for insurance and the advanced market type of insurance policies that some of our top producers are getting into. So there's no denying it, but personal production has a ceiling. And so to me, it comes down to leverage versus limit. And you only have so many hours and so much energy, and agency building creates scale, leverage, and passive income. So that's the first thing that comes to my mind is leverage versus limit. I can only sell, Dylan Crane can only do so much by himself. And when you're staring at a the amount of market capacity and opportunity that we all have to take ground and to take land in the insurance industry in our space, I can't see that and just be like sleuthing gold myself with a shovel and a pan. I want to think about systems. I want to think about an operation. I want to think about how to create leverage. I want more of that. And so that's where building an agency comes in, because like there's only so many hours in a week. So let's say you want to work 40, 50 hours a week of being a personal production, and you can sell 300-400 policies a year, or I can go out and find 10 good running buddies, and each of them can do a few hundred policies plus mine. And now I've 10x'd, but it was because I focused on processes, systems, and leverage versus being at the top of the leaderboard. So it's tricky because you want to chase that leaderboard, you want to chase that stuff, but you got to be thinking about not being the top personal producer and gold panner. You want to be about like who's got the operation running, and how do I compete on that level? And this also, I think about it through the impact lens. Again, it's not always just the financial impact and type of money and wealth impact. It is the impact lens of what we're able to do. And again, as an agent, you can help 100 families, or you can help thousands of families, and that ripple effect of all of that, the money will flow. You create that kind of a ripple effect with thousands and hundreds of thousands of insurance policies and death benefits, and you help create that, then man, the impact on that is ridiculous. And then there's the freedom factor, which is like what I was drawn to in the beginning. Agency ownership buys you time freedom and decision-making freedom in a way that just I've never experienced with personal production. I got to the point with personal production where I was just like, I was tired of always turning my production in Friday and then being unemployed again until my next appointment. And that always starting over every day, every week, every month, every year. For me, it was more of like not a means to an end, but a means to a different world. And so I was using it as my ATM, as the vehicle to get me to a different destination versus it being the destination. And so I think that's where it starts, Edward, is it starts with identity. That's such a huge thing, is how are you seeing yourself? Decide you're not just a producer, you're a builder. The shift comes before the structure comes. That identity shift is so big. So I would say it starts there, and then you start to work on the structure, the work of it, the 2 boxes component. But anything to unpack out of that? Or
well, I do want to get into the structure part, but I love what you're saying there about identity. Is something that we've been talking about. I know in my direct organization that the only way you can get authority and power, and it's not just, it's funny, like some of these topics, it's not just in like, I'm talking about this with insurance agents. I also have some groups that I'm part of, a group of men that I'm really working very closely with, and these same principles keep showing up, right? These same principles of success that have been written for a long time keep showing up, and you speak into that point of like, what's your identity? Because you only can actually take the authority that this business can get and have make it a powerful business when you know what you are and what you're here to do. And you can certainly settle, as you said, like you can settle for one thing and miss out on this entire, it's like, I'm settling on this one tree and I don't see that there's a huge forest right here for the kind of like the forest in your background right there. Like don't run into that forest because that would hurt. But it's like, that's by missing out on that identity piece and really being able to, and we get to, because of what you all have created with Symmetry, like we get to self-identify. We get to determine and say, hey, I am going to be a business builder. I'm going to be someone who is a person of impact. Joe Jordan talks about this is significant, right? A life of significant work that we're doing. When you're saying 100,000 policies, right? How many clients are being served by those 100,000? Symmetry just passed, right, the 1 million mark on the client side. How many families are impacted by us having 1 million people covered? And to your point, money, in the sense of it's a value, like money as a resource flows to where value is being added. So let's talk about this just so people can understand. Symmetry's first year, going back to 2009, you guys did a whopping 309,000. And correct me if I'm wrong on the number. This is just coming from my memory. Just
sounds about right.
$309,000 of premium was 2009. Like that was the full first year.
Yeah,
Symmetry Financial Group, right?
Granted, it was like a short year because we started the company in like September, October.
Okay.
But that also was like me, Brandon, Linwood, a couple others, like head down. There was no other people. It was literally like, if this were the call, it would be me and like just 3 of you guys. That was our first conference call.
There you go. So 309,000, 20, just to refresh.
And that was uncapped submit.
Uncapped submit. So last year, let's not even go with like where we are right now, but 2024, what's total number for Symmetry? And I just want to do this from an illustration point, from a, like, as we talk about structuring this and structuring each individual business, like I think a lot of people lose the fact that like you guys didn't start with a $10 million insurance agency or an IMO. You started at $309,000 for a 3-month period of time. So break that down, that's $100,000 a month. Like there are people on this call right now that are doing $100,000 a month, like many people on this call doing $100,000 a month within their agency, right? So now 2024, where did Symmetry, Quility, the entity end up production-wise?
I don't know where we ended up. I can't remember that slide, but I know we're like right now our current size is around like 6 million a week of submit between all channels. So
6 million a week, do some quick math, that's $312 million a year. If we're run rating 6 million a week. So do the math on that. 16 years from a $100,000 a month organization to now a 6 million a week, 6 times 4, right? 24, from 100,000 to 24 million. What's Brad? You're a math whiz, I know.
Here's the calculator.
Get the calculator out. It may take you a while to calculate this. Like, what's the growth rate on that? But I share that. So as you talk about, so you guys started this thing from a place of like, it was, like you said, a handful of people on one Zoom call would have been the whole company. Yep. So how do you start? Like, once I make that decision, I've decided my identity is I'm a builder. I'm someone who's building something that adds value, that is a significant work that I'm doing out here. And because of that value, I know it will come back. But now how do I go out and structure that? How do I get started if I'm on this call and I'm kind of like, I want to start doing that. I see myself as someone who owns an insurance agency, as a builder, as someone who can take advantage of everything that I have around me and get that leverage to overcome the limits that other people are trying to impose on my life. How do you start putting together the structure? What would be your kind of like leaving this call, some 1, 2, 3 things they could do as we're going into the last quarter of the year so that they can start with already a business starting to form? It's already going. You already got momentum before we even get to 2026.
Well, I think it boils down to, again, keeping your brain on leverage. We scale ours not by working harder, but by building systems that others can plug into. The same principle works at the agency level. The only difference is you don't have to build the systems, because that's the whole purpose of Symmetry, is that the systems exist. You might put some creative spin on it here and there. You might have a couple little gaps filled here and there with some stuff, but just be very system driven, thinking about processes and systems and leverage what's already there. And so when you're thinking about all the stuff that you do for work that doesn't fit in the 2 boxes, which is personal production, and even within those 2 boxes, what are the things that I'm doing that I could sub out to someone else for 10 or 15 or 20 bucks an hour for? Maybe I need to get me another appointment set, or like for us, it was, we wanted to keep our cash flow high so that we could keep investing in people behind the scenes to help us recruit and personally produce more.
Right.
Because that cash flow allows us to create leverage behind the scenes, and it's the best leadership and attraction thing you can do for your business, because not only are you hitting that ATM more with your personal production, so you can help create that leverage behind the scenes, and having just a good operations person to help you behind the scenes, having someone, and I can't remember who I was talking about it, but like, it doesn't always have to be like a business staff person. It could be the help you need around the house. Like, it could be someone to mow the lawn and someone to clean the house and someone to cook. And like, some of these things that do translate still into $20 an hour, $30 an hour. What in my life can I get off of my plate so I can do a couple of the main activities that I know drive ultimate results? So that's where the 2 boxes was born. I only want to put activities in my schedule that are in those 2 boxes. But again, that might mean that even on the business stuff, that I'm looking for leveragey opportunities in there, like extra appointment setters, or someone to book me interviews for recruiting, or to do all the ad, marketing, ad placement, stuff like that. And by the way, like, good little cardinal rule, never do anything for the first time without checking up first. Why wouldn't you check with someone who's got what you want? Whether that's Griff or Edward, whoever. It could be someone 2-3 times your size. It could be just someone a little bit more. Like, find the person that's growing and make sure that when you are about to leverage up and spend that and make that commitment on getting a part-time ops person, or or you're working on your marketing, kind of plan your budget for how to kind of get more recruiting or something like that, that you're kind of checking up first. And not just kind of playing wild west investor in your own business. Like, because I promise you, Delaney has made a lot of investment mistakes, just like Edward, just like Griff, and they all wish they had talked to each other before doing some of those. So, good cardinal rule, never do anything for the first time without checking up. Great kind of thing to know in this business, because there's a lot of landmines when you start changing your identity to business owner. Sometimes the ego fuels these moves that are like, that wasn't necessary. That didn't actually, we planned this huge vacation, this huge trip, and it didn't really move the needle, or maybe it did. But like, I'm just saying, there's a lot of mistakes and a lot of things that we've invested in over the years that did not pan out. And that should not keep you from moving. Like, you can't still second base and keep your foot on first. Progress always involves risk. You just want to make sure that you're making more positive, good bets than bad bets. But I see my skill set over the years ultimately as being like a good bet maker. But even in that, like, a good investment maker in the business. And I'm always looking for where are the areas to invest in the business. And you can't do that if your personal production sucks. Unless you're on the screen right now and you decide, like, endless capital somewhere, or you got a nice trust fund or something like that, is different, but you're still going to lack the leadership ability that you get with high levels of personal production. You're going to miss the attraction factor that comes from just doing the work that you're going to ask other people to do. So even if you're on the call and you got a lot of capital, I'd still keep it high on the personal production front, but you might have it a little bit easier than others that are trying to bootstrap it a little bit. Well, and I don't think $1 million revenue. Think, how do I build a platform others can win on? But ultimately, it's already built. You just have to leverage it and figure out how to put more people on it.
Yeah, and I wanted to highlight, like, just some of the things, like, you just dropped a whole bunch of just gold bricks right down for people to be able to pick up if they're wise enough to look and see. But number one, on that idea of like, check upline, like, check with someone who's done what you want or has what you want. Because here's the thing, you're going to have landmines.
Yeah.
Right. I don't care if you do, you can, but at least you can avoid some. You're going to find your own land. Let those be the only ones you find, versus walking into something that you could have just said, hey, I'm getting ready to do this. What do you think? Right.
Yeah.
And then
little just relational thing on this note. I've had people come to me already signed the contract on the office or already hired the person basically. And they've gotten emotionally invested in the outcome of their strategy or answer or whatever. And so they're not really coming to me with this, like helping me, like they're not coming early enough. If that makes sense, it's already like a little bit too late because you can tell they're already dug in so much on this idea and probably already invested in it that I can't help you now because you already, so just a little
The
nuance,
decisions
a
to
little
make.
nuance in how you come to your mentor with a problem, a solution, an idea is let them bake it out with you a little bit. Come with the structure of it, but don't come so stuck that that's the right idea. Because sometimes it's just hard to come off of that, once you get too far along in this brainstorming stuff. So
Definitely. And I mean, I know we're getting ready to hear from some individuals that are out here doing what you're talking about. And there's some questions, the boxes that you were talking about. There's the production box, which hopefully we can have you back sometime soon where we can really just dig in and maybe even get the PowerPoint up and like, okay, here are the two boxes, here are the numbers, right? Like we could go deeper and get into like, here are the numbers that we need to fill it in with. So hopefully you'll grace us with being able to come back and do that here sometime soon. But from the high level, like with everything that we have here right now, like you see, you see everything behind the scenes, in front of the scenes. You've built it from, again, 300,000 in a quarter, the first quarter for the company, to where now we're got a $24 million a month, which was that 48, 60, like that's a whole bunch more per quarter, right? Whatever you compared it to right now. So how do they, like with the systems, because I think this has always been, and that's what you guys did such a good job of, is building a systematic business where we could come in and plug into systems to get that leverage and to start growing. So as people leave again and get ready to step into this fourth quarter fully, what are kind of some here's what you can go out and do that you can leverage in our platform, what we have right now, what they should be expecting that Symmetry and Quality are doing for them right now, that they can go and leverage so they can start getting those quick wins with this idea of building here in the building box, the building quadrant of what Symmetry has put into place for them.
I think there's there's 1,000 things I could say, but
I know this is one of those tough questions. I want to make the last one a little tough, so you have to think about it for a little bit. But then that way people can go back and say, like, here's one thing I can hone in and key in on. Whether I'm just getting started or have been maybe building an agency for multiple months. I'm an AO, I'm a RAD. It doesn't matter where, but here are some things that, like, if we all say, let's put our focus on these couple of things, maybe it's just one, maybe it's one or two or three, but these are the places where you're seeing from your seat on the bus. We put our focus here, it's going to help us win in a much more successful way than if we kind of stay, because there are 1,000 things, right? There are so many things that we could be that's business. There's a lot of things that could be attracting your attention. And when you're talking about making those bets, sometimes it's betting your time on like what you're going to work on. And you've done a very good job of betting on the right thing. So what would you be betting on right now with the platform and the system that we currently have?
Yeah, and that's a good point. The investment mindset it is equal parts financial, where am I placing my bets, and time, maybe even more so weighted towards time, where am I placing my time bets? Such a good kind of aspect of what we're talking about. I would give you two things to do. The first one is set your goal out to where you would want to be this time next year. So set a 1-year mark. And since we're in the spirit of, the theme of talking about $1 million business, let's put that as a target, right? Now you might be halfway there. You might be a quarter of the way there. You might be, a tenth of the way there, or maybe even less. Maybe you're brand new. It's still possible. And I'll tell you the biggest goal that would be the indicator of that, because that's going to be, you're going to want to be kind of in this 100,000 a week, 100,000 a month range, right? because that'll get you 1.2 a year of submit. So what I would do is I would say, when is Ignite?
March 16th through the 18th.
If you have 100 people at Ignite, by July, you'll have $100,000 agency of submit on a monthly basis. Is that right? Does the numbers work out?
March, April, May, June, July. That's 4 months. 100 people, right? 100,000.
100 people. You'll probably have it, but you'll probably actually have better than that. You'll have a good bit better than that. So 5,000 per.
5,000 per. Well, if you have 5,000 per and you have 100 people, that'd be
You're 5x.
Yeah, $500,000 agency.
Maybe you don't need to get 100, but if you want, like, I will say that like 100 a week in submit is where the money starts feeling really fun. That's where you start getting up in about $40,000-$50,000 a week of gross revenue. Excuse me, a month of gross revenue. So put your target out a year from now, whatever that number is. Do the math. You get $5,000 of monthly submit per person you have at your Ignite conference. So put your goal out there, and then that's kind of the future marker. And then right now, when you get off this call, think more about small wins that can help build momentum and small habits that you can create right now. Because sometimes you get off a call like this and we talk about the 2 boxes and how much production it takes to be in this box and how many interviews you need. And that can create a little paralysis if you're too far away from that. So I would say my goal would, my encouragement to you would be to think about 2 or 3 small habit changes that you think and trust your gut on this. Trust your intuition on, people ask me a lot of questions about their business and what they're doing wrong. I think all of you guys are great. You know what you need to do. You know what you're not doing. Okay. Can we just get, like, this is not that complicated. Like, I think sometimes just asking the question is like, you're just stalling. You know what you're not doing right now. So do that. And it's probably my history of success has been, it feels like a series of very small habitual changes over time that it just becomes the new norm. From a time investment, schedule investment, it just is like, I didn't used to be that disciplined. And now a year later, that's just the norm. And then I'm a little bit more disciplined. It's the same thing with like working out, Brian, isn't it? It's like, it's hard to go from like couch to like this, but it's just small little incremental habitual discipline changes. So think about what those top 2 or 3 mini moves, small little moves you can make right now, but keep that end destination in mind for Ignite and how many people you want there. Because if you don't set a number right now and you don't understand that number, I promise you, will directly dictate your your production volume 90 days after that event, you're not, that's the metric to pay attention to. So, and then work backwards from there, but don't change so much that like the wheels fall off and you're not used to that kind of change and discipline. Leave this call with a few small things. What are those small things? Okay. That's what I would encourage.
Love it, sir. And just to repeat, so that you're getting that written down, make that 1-year goal, right? And then $5,000 in monthly production, submitted production per attendee that you have at Ignite. Right. We know the date. We know how much time we have. All you have to do, and that's what we're getting ready to hear. Okay, so we're getting ready to hear from some of the people who are already have 10, 15, 20 people registered to be with them at Ignite. So like they know where their production is going to be in July, at least where it is going to be right now. I'm sure these people probably have more people with them at Ignite. But that's that, and it's cool, and just that, I don't know, just how it works out, like these principles, like that's what we're getting ready to hear from and talk to next. that you would say like, those are the two things that I would
That's
focus
it. I can remember before even starting this company, my first rodeo with a company that couldn't hold a candle to what we have from an opportunity, from a systems, from a franchise like process. I mean, it was archaic. It was hard. There was not big producers like we see now. I went from $50,000 a month of submit, which was 5 or 6, me and my running buddies, right? To 100,000, so 50,000 a month of submit to 100,000 a week of submit in 24 months. And it came from getting almost 100 people to a national event. And then about 90 days later, I was running 100,000 a week in submit, which is not $1 million submit business that we're talking about now. Now you're getting into like, we're getting into like $1 million revenue type business, which is probably what y'all are defining $1 million as, not just submit. Let's start with submit first, but I want everyone to get to $1 million of revenue very quickly.
Most definitely. Well, thank you so much for just being willing to, I mean, you're out here running a $300 million organization, and you're still pouring in the way you have, and I've seen you pour in for the past 15 years. So just love
Grateful for y'all. Hey, and you don't thank me, just buy my book.
I'll see if I can find. I'll see if I can find a copy of that.
All right. Yeah.
All right, sir. Well, thank you.
Guys.
Hey, we'll have you back sometime soon, and keep digging into this.
Y'all say when, I'll be back.
All right.
Seriously.
All right. We'll take advantage of that.
My favorite thing to do is just work with guys like y'all. So keep it up. Thank y'all.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Edward, I just want to make a quick point on this because I remember calling Casey in November of it was November of 2012, and I was growing my business. We had hit in the previous May, we had hit agency owner. We were announced as agency owner, and we were growing like crazy, but my bank account wasn't reflecting that. And I called him and I said, "What's going on? Why isn't my bank account? Why isn't my profitability where it needs to be?" I said, because he said on average, whatever you run on average per month, that's what your income is going to be for that year. And I was running on average per month about 240,000 or about 230,000. And he said, give it 90 days. I finished that year at 242,000 in income. That was my third year in this business. Not only were the averages correct, but he was off by 12,000 to my benefit. That's who you guys just got to learn from, is somebody who's that accurate. And I just wanted to point that out. He's always kept this business simple, and it's been to all of our benefits, and that's amazing. So thank you for following the way with Casey and showing me the way. So
wow, I mean, and that's what we get to do, is just by following somebody like that. And I agree with you 100%, Brian, just in seeing the systematic way that he has done things, and how he has explained it, and being able to just show the numbers, right? Just being able to show the numbers, and it's so duplicatable. It doesn't change that much. Like, there are some things, and I love that about our business. There are some things in this business that just don't really change that much, right? That 5,000 per producer, right? If I'm building an agency, like, that's just that. Like, there's gonna be some people who go out and write 50,000 a month, and guess what? There's gonna be some people that aren't. I can't make that happen, right? I can give people the opportunity to take advantage of the systems that we have to go out and choose which one they want to be, right? And we know that, like, by getting the right people into the room, the right people are going to step up and start doing what we do on a regular basis. And then if I know how many people I have in the room, I can predict what my business is going to be doing. Like, this is what he was talking about, like getting leverage. This is how I can predict what my business is going to be doing a month from now, 90 days from now. And to your point, Brian, that's how I can know this is how much income I'm gonna be able to make if my business does this. And like, that's what I love about this business. Like, it doesn't matter what the stock market does, doesn't matter who's in office, it doesn't matter if the government's open or closed, right? Like, my business is going to do some things that are very consistent based off what Casey was just sharing with you. So looking forward to hearing more. If you want to hear more from Casey, go ahead and throw me just a little thumbs up in the chat, just to make sure if we need to have it back. Maybe like this is a straw poll right here. Maybe you don't want him to come back, and you can put the down thumb. But if we put the down thumb, we're going to find you. So I wouldn't do that. So I think I just shifted that voting unintentionally. All right, Mr. Smith.
Yeah,
like this is the next part of what we were talking about doing on this call is to hear from some people who are doing exactly what Casey has been talking about. So I'm going to turn it over to you, and I'll try to see if I can help it. I think I got most everybody on my main screen, but I'll try to spotlight as we go. But I'll turn it over to the indomitable Brad Smith with the $1.5 million month from September. We'll see how October. Y'all think that the Pritchett direct agency, everyone's like, oh, we don't have to worry about them. I'm just saying, we may have only done 300,000 in September, but October is a different month. That's all I'm saying.
Man, so grateful for you, Edward, and your leadership and everything you've done to guide me and my team, this whole agency. And how fortunate are we to have a guy like Casey Watkins as the owner of this company? Like, there's a lot of types of owners of companies, and with a lot of different personality types and a lot of different agendas and egos and all kinds of stuff that he just does not have. And one thing I love about this company is how it started, how the founders started this company. You guys realize that the way they built this company is the exact same way that we get to build our agencies. We get a model to follow. And a lot of you guys don't know this. He didn't say this, but when they started Symmetry, they didn't have their own leads department yet. They were buying 2-year-old bonus leads, and Casey was driving 4 hours to run appointments while he was doing interviews with guys like Edward, casting a vision of what's possible. Think about that. Do you have the vision of where your company is going that you are willing to do that kind of sacrifice and still cast a vision through all the hard work? It is hard. It is hard. But you know what? Just because it's hard doesn't mean you can't do it. I love Jim Rohn's definition of easy and hard. He says, to me, if something's hard, it means I can't do it. If I can do it, it's easy. I love that because sometimes there's so many people that are not willing to call 2-year-old leads to launch their business. Think about this. This is a guy who started a company that has evolved to a $300+ million a year company. I don't have any doubt it's going to get to $1 billion. And he started calling 2-year-old leads, investing in recruiting, running all the different departments. He was willing to get into the mud to get started, and he wasn't too good for it. How many people on this call feel like because I've had the success in the past, I've done other things, I need the good leads. I don't deserve to go down into the dirt anymore to start my company because really I don't yet have the identity that Casey talked about in the very beginning. Who am I? Where am I going? Is it going to be worth it? It's the story you're going to tell. I am proud of the story that this company started on. Are you going to be proud of the story that you're writing right now on where you're going? So we're going to hear from a handful of people right now. And we could have picked a lot because there's so many great people right now. There's so many people that are so committed and they're doing the work. They're in the grind and it's working for them. So we only have about 20 minutes. So we're going to do about 5 minutes each. But I'm going to start with Ben Edson, direct to Griff Martin, killing it. Broke out as an AO this year. Already surpassed. You did 800,000 last year. You've already, as of August, surpassed that. 30% year-over-year growth, averaging about 20 writers per month, over 80 writers so far for the year, and you have 16 people already currently registered for Ignite with 5.5 months to go. How are you doing? What is the look? Tell us like what's the biggest obstacle you had to overcome and the shift that happened from and maybe there wasn't a shift. Maybe you came here already ready to build a business and your focus was already in the right place. But tell people what advice can you give for them that wanna make that shift to build and start getting people to ignite?
Absolutely. Brad, thanks so much for having me on, man. Ben Edson, directed Griff Martin, Edward Pritchett. Thank you guys so much for going first. You know, I mean, that's Brian Delaney told me that at Agency Owner Academy too. He was like, this is a leadership company and leaders go first. So the first step for me was just pre-committing to going first to conference, right? I went to my first conference by myself. Man, that was lonely. That was so lonely. I was a team leader and I went by myself, right? But coming out of Denver this year, I knew that I had 17 people there and I knew I wanted to have at least 40 people, right, at Ignite. So if I'm a leader and I'm going first, what did I do? I got out, my checkbook and I bought enough of an owner's pack, right, a 30 plus a 10, so that I had 40 spaces for Ignite. Right, that's it. That if you're not doing that, you're not going first, right? What's a checkbook? Thank you, Ashton. And the reason I say checkbook and not credit card is because I'm not putting that on credit, right? I'm not putting that on credit. I'm taking money that I made in this business and saved to invest in this business so that I could go first, and so that I could invite people at a lower cost to come discover what is next. You know what I mean? And I think it takes, like, Brad, I think the thing that really takes is it takes, like, sales is all about stories. And I'm like, at my root, I'm a salesperson. I've been in sales my whole life, and sales is about stories. And building a business here is about stories too. And like, we need those stories. Like, I live off those stories, right? I had an agent, she'd never written an application. She came to Denver this year. She drove, single mom of 8, drove all the way across Kansas to Denver, stayed in an Airbnb with people she didn't know, came to this conference. Since then, right, she's written applications. She got a call from Transamerica yesterday that she's in the running for one of their bonuses on their new FE program. You know what she did with the commissions that she got? She bought her ticket to Ignite, right? And those are the kind of stories that make me get up every single day and just invite people to come to this thing. So, I mean, I could talk about the little, technicalities of when I invite people to come and how I reach out to them. But ultimately, I just think it's about creating stories like that, like of Kelly Little, the lady I'm talking about, and putting them in front of other people and just saying, this is why we gather. We gather because we get to hear from people like you. You went first. Edward went first. Brian went first. Griff went first. So I get to invite people that know nothing about this business to come sit and watch you guys speak, and I get to learn from you. They get to learn from you. So I think it's about creating stories, and it's about putting people in a room together so that we can do what humans need to do, which is associate and learn from each other.
So you're not waiting until the month before to promote Ignite. Where again, like I said, we're 5.5 months. When are you having that conversation with people?
So this is a shift. And I used to be like, well, I'm just going to wait and see. Like, after they write a couple applications, we're going to check in on the bank account, and then we're going to talk about conference. And I had this epiphany in somewhere this summer where I was like, does anybody enroll in medical school and intend not to become a doctor? Like, does anybody enroll in law school and intend not to become a lawyer? No, heck no, right? So now, right after they have enrolled in pre-licensing, the next step is registering for a conference. Because I want you to know, I want you to you are going to be in this business in mid-March when you come to Ignite. If you don't want to draw that line in the sand, if you don't want to have that intention, if you don't want to visualize being in this business in that moment, then we need to walk back and talk about why you're enrolling in licensing, because it might not be the right time for you.
Wow. So do you actually say that? Do you actually say nobody plans on becoming a doctor or starting medical school and not becoming a doctor? Do you say that to people? And
yes, 1,000%. Yeah, because think about that, right? Think about the commitment. See, this is the problem with easy in, easy out, right? Most people, right? right? Although we hear the woes all the time about how, people can't afford it, but most people can put together $100, $150, $200 to get into pre-licensing, right? And so it's that small investment that can sometimes lead to small commitment. And so the sooner we make big commitment, the sooner we make big investment, the sooner we're going to get big results. Right. And so just offering that challenge. I mean, I am guilty, and I said this at AOA too to everybody, like guilty of being high support, low challenge. And that's my lesson to learn. And so my version of high challenge is you need to invest in yourself. You need to come to this event. And I've already gone first, right? I've spent my, whatever, $5,500 on my 40 owners pack tickets to make it easier for you to come so that you can succeed. Right. So it went from a place of me honestly like begging people to come to these events to me drawing a line and saying, actually, I'm only willing to work with people that have the commitment level to plan to be at this event, whether it's 6 months away or 6 weeks away.
Wow, such a great shift in posture. Man, I love it. I wish we could have you on for a little longer. Thanks for leading
Thanks,
by
man.
example, doing everything you do. It's awesome. Let me bring on Gino Locklear, part of Delaney's agency, elite producer, agency director, third quarter, personal production third quarter, $122,000 capped, agency volume in third quarter, $225,000 in volume with 20 Ignite ticket registrations. Gina, you out there?
Yeah, man. What's going on, Brad?
Hey, good to see you.
Yeah, man.
Leading by example, you're not just cracking the whip on your team. You got almost 50% of the agency volume is coming from you. You're out there leading from the front. How are you getting 20 registrations to Ignite? Let me start actually by saying this. How key is event promotion to grow in your agency?
Mm. So, first off, let's tackle the meat of that, because I've been here, 7 years. March will be 8 years. And I've had leaders in my corner like you, like Brian, like Edward, being able to hear from Brandon and Casey, somebody like a Jordan Hunt right by my side. And, we always talk about the importance of confidence. And we always know that there's this saying that big decisions are made at big events. And so like I've been in this environment, in this atmosphere, for 7 years. And I've always heard that, like, hey, the importance is, we got to get people registered for conference. Why? Because that's where big decisions are made. And I didn't get that aha moment until this past Engage conference 7 years later. Like, think about that. You know what I mean? 7 years later, I've just now got it. And it's not that I wasn't inviting people to conference. It's just it wasn't like the biggest priority for me, right? I would do it because everybody else was telling me to do it, Brad. And, it was just a part of what we do here until I got to that event. And, every event, whether it's a call like this or an in-person event, or it's just a one-on-one conversation with one of your mentors, like there's always something that you can take away from that call that can change, the rest of your life. And for me, it was when, Cook was on the stage and he went over that slide. It just made everything a little bit more tangible for me, right? It was able to awake me. And, I looked at when we were at Ignite in February, I had 7 people there, including myself, 6 agents, right? At Engage, I had 8 people there, including myself, right? Well, we already have 21 people registered for conference. So what changed? What changed? Conference changed, right? That event changed me, we got somebody like a Devontae Bryant Haley who drove from Lumberton, North Carolina to Denver, Colorado. Like, put that in your GPS, see how many hours that was, right? We have people that didn't even have an insurance license. He had flunked his test 3 times before, and he was still at conference, Brad. And so it was like, I get my brother who's there, my brother who's seen me be very successful in this industry for the past 7 years. And I've had these conversations with him about, man, you should really come do this with me. Like, man, being able to, build a business with my brother would be the best thing ever. And he gets to that event and he's there at that event. And the morning that we leave to go home, the first words out of his mouth when he got up from the bed was, I'm going to be somebody next conference.
Hmm.
I've never been able to do that, Delaney. And if he never does anything with this business, I know that Gino would have never been able to get those words in his mouth. The event done that. And so at that moment, I was like, what the hell am I doing? Like, why am I not filling this arena up with so many people? Like, it should be my duty. Because, hurt people, but free people, free people. And if I can get a lot more people in that room, they may be able to see themselves a little bit differently, right? They may be able to start making changes in their life that may be able to change the rest of their life. And so when I got home, I looked at my wife and I said, I got a crazy idea. She was like, what is it? I was like, I'm getting 100 people to this conference. And I was like, I don't know how, I don't know, how it's going to happen, but we are going after it. And I'm just telling people like, man, like, you're going to experience something there that you can't learn from a script, that you can't learn from, an overview, that you can't learn from a training on a Tuesday afternoon. Like, you're going to experience something that could possibly change everything for your life. And people like us, we do things like this. And so whether they're licensed, they're unlicensed, they're in training, they don't have a pre-licensing course yet, like, we're talking to them about getting registered for conference, because I am 100% convinced, borderline delusional, that if I can get people there, their life is going to change.
Oh my goodness, that's so good. It will change.
Yeah.
And uh, you're going to get, Casey talked about leverage.
Mm-hmm.
He said the most important thing is getting leverage in this business. And
Yeah.
just think, you're direct to Jordan Hunt, right? Jordan got you there. Because Jordan got you there, he might have an additional 100 people at Ignite that he didn't even have to work on, because you caught a vision and you're getting other people at an event to catch a vision and to make big decisions. Man, I just love that you're leading from the front the way you are. Again, I wish I could spend a little more time with you too, but we're a little short on time. But thanks for sharing. I'm gonna bring on the third one we've got. We got two more. Direct to Omar Diaz, who I could have brought on Omar too, because his team is absolutely blowing up the whole Clark agency. But Max, Valerie, Mason, you, I believe, have the most registrations in the Smith organization for Ignite. Just to give some stats, in 2024, your agency did 784,000. So far, year to date, you're at 1.3 million. You've almost doubled what you did the entire last year, and you've got 37 registrations already for Ignite, 5.5 months out. How are you doing it? Tell us about this struggle. I want you to tell us about this struggle, because so many people, they go through a struggle, but they don't keep going. They don't push through. They don't adapt. They're not flexible. They hit a wall and they quit. But you haven't done that. You've hit a wall and then you turn and keep going. And then you hit another wall and you keep going. You're just relentless and just so committed to the end. So tell us about the struggle, and then how are you getting 37 people already registered?
Uh, well, thank you, Brad, for having me on. Max Farramis and Direct to Omar Diaz, Clark, Colburn, Smith, Pritchett, Line, and I said Line because there's a word that I can't say. The number one struggle that I had, I mean, really is I still remember my the first interview that I did. I was not prepared for that interview because I didn't know it was coming. And I just happened to have like in a situation where I had 12 or 13 people that popped in the waiting room, my Zoom room, and I was like, what? What do I got to do? So the only thing that I was able to do is I've been listening to a lot of audios, a lot of your speech, Brad, and you know that original hokey pokey speech, I learned it by heart because each time I was hitting a wall, I needed to have something to help me go over that wall. And it also helped me a lot with English because that was my first wall, right? I needed to learn. And I had to understand after long, very long conversation with Chris Clark, I had to understand that you cannot be who you're going to be and who you used to be at the same time. And I had to let go, you know, all these struggles because I've had a lot of bad things happen to me into my lifetime, but most of which never happened because everything was up there. I was just thinking this is going to happen to me, and you're going to realize that if you actually just go for it, there's no, at some point you got to switch off the fear. You know, fear exists in your mind, face it, it disappears, and just switch it off and just go for it and do it over and over and over and over again. And the reality is I didn't do that for my first like 3 years at Symmetry, something like that, because I was just scared. I was just afraid. And I love what Casey Watkins said earlier. Say production can go can go to a certain point. I cannot write 1.3. I mean, I could write maybe 1.3 million by myself. What is it gonna take? What is it gonna take? It's gonna take me way too much when you can actually do it with other people. You know, in sports, when you run together, it's conditioning. It's called conditioning. But when you run by yourself, it's a punishment. I'm not going to punish myself on purpose, right? I'm not going to do that. I don't want to, you know, whip myself. That's not me. So I had to explain, and I explained to everybody, each and every conversation I have, each interview that I have, I talk about conference, because without conference, I would not be here. I would not be here without my first Ignite. I would not be here with the conference that I went after that, which was Altitude. I would not be here with the conference after, which was Engage, Engage 1, Engage number 2, Engage number 3. And there's going to be more and more and more and more like that, because you build from, I mean, I'm listening to what you guys are saying. I'm not a genius. You build from event to event. You build from event to event. That's just what I'm doing. Because even if you you know, it's not my culture, events, you know, it's not my thing, you know, to be honest. But also that's something that I understood with all these books that Chris Clark forced me to read, and thank you very much. You can't embrace your destiny if you do not let go of your history. So what I did before got me where I was. So here's a like a line, and my father told me that a long time ago. You're going to have to make a decision whether you watch a movie or you make a movie, right? And that's if you want to know your past, you look at your present situation, right? So if you want to know your future, look at what you're doing now. Look at what you're doing now. And so basically what I'm saying, I'm looking at is what have these guys been doing, what Edward has been doing, what Brad has been doing, what Clark has been doing, what Colburn's been doing, what Omar has been doing. Y'all did the same thing. There's got to be some kind of a reason here. So I'm pushing over and over and over and over for conference. I got a ton of people at the agency that said, "Nah, I'm good, Max. I don't need a ticket. I got my own pack." Yes, that's what I want. I don't want you to lean on me. I don't care. I don't care about my tickets. I care about you guys, because that's where the growth is going to come from. But that was that was a little bit hard. That was a little bit hard. But you know, it's the, I call that the military service syndrome. You only remember the good things. Like later down the road, I'm starting to laugh about these horrible moments where I was like, I got 12 people in front of me. I don't know what to say. I start to laugh about this. That was not fun at the moment, but now it's fun. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so good. So good. Well, I can tell what you want, not by the words that you say, but by your actions. And I see you in the office before I get here. You are in the office till like 9, 10 o'clock at night. You are putting in the work. And I know that it's for a season. And you are going to build something for your family that is going to last a very long time. And it is just awesome. You are chasing the American dream. And that's what you moved here for from France. And I love it. You're doing it here at Symmetry. And you're an inspiration to so many people. I'm going to bring on the final one, but super proud of you, Max. The star from the Symmetry Wednesday National Call, we've got Marin, agency owner, top producer, personal production, third quarter, almost 56,000, agency production, 172,000, 11 new writers, 27 Ignite registrations, and you pulled me aside at the party at Engage, and you told me how many people you want to have at Ignite. What was that number?
100.
100 people right there with Gino. And you're already at 27. You got 5 months. How confident are you that you're going to hit that?
We're going to blow it out of the water, Brad. I am definitely confident on that part. Rain, shine, snow, doesn't matter.
Okay, I love the mindset. Why are you so confident?
I'm gonna get real for a second, Brad. I came into America when I was 18, right? I chased the American dream with engineering, everything. But one thing that I was lacking was that association, right? I never got to meet like the company's CEO when I was there, right? But I was building somebody else's dream. And once I came into this company, Brad, one thing that I saw is how everybody is for you and it's not something they want from you, right? So creating that vision with your team, that was one of the things that I share, right? And the confidence comes from my team, right? So because here's something that I'll tell you. What is the price you're gonna be paying by not associating with like big events like this? Right. It might cost you 10,000, it might cost you 20,000, it might cost you 30,000. But a lot of us, whether we came from the corporate world or not, we were running from something. Right. So we were running from something that made us come into this industry. And you want to get what you want, get in the room with the right people, get in the room like conference, like Ignite. And here's something also I'll share with you. Ignite last year, one of my agents went for the first time. She was, I think, 2 months or 3 months in. And then the next month after, I saw her writing 19,000. Right. I have an agent that just joined us before Engage, and on a CIH lead, I saw him writing 12,000 because he went to conference. Right. The confidence comes from the team seeing the vision and the team knowing what their pain point is and what was that thing. Do I want to go back to where I left off? And do I want to come into an industry where I'm gonna grow? And put something in the chat for me. If you have been in the same income level before you got here, no matter how hard that you worked, right? No matter how hard that you worked, you were stuck in the same income level before you came into this industry. So this is the thing that I share. Your commitment today is going to be your breakthrough for tomorrow, right? So that's more about it, Brad, for me and the team, and we are definitely going to get to 100.
So just like in sports, there are a lot of people on this call. There are more spectators than players. And at some point, you've got to make the decision to get off the bench and get down in the field and play. What do you say to the people that are still stuck on the bench and they don't feel ready yet? When is that decision? How did you make that decision? What advice can you give to them as we wrap up?
The best advice that I can give you is your commitment level, right? What you're saying to yourself is you don't see yourself making it happen in the next 6 months to 7 months. And if we're gonna get real, then why are we here? Right? That's a gut check. Why are we here if you're saying that you're not willing to commit and for the next 6-7 months that you're gonna grow your income, your belief is gonna grow, you're gonna get to meet people that are doing this in a bigger level, like you, Brian, Edward, Griff, and at the same time, you're gonna be able to see where you want to be in life also, right? Because one thing that we know is what we know have gotten us to this level. If we want to get to the next level, and we got to let go of those habits, and we got to be okay paying that price, because the price is on the other side. So
Great advice. Love the example you're setting. You're such an inspiration to so many people. Edward, I'm going to turn it back over to you to close, but man, what a great call, guys. Let's go get it.
Well, I mean, there's nothing like that's why we wanted those 4 individuals to share. Brian, Griff, I don't know if you guys have anything else, but like at this point in time, guys, like after hearing what Casey has laid out, what we have in front of us, what's available to us, some simple things like, set a goal for 1 year, get some people to Ignite. And I totally agree, Brian. Like, we all know what we're supposed to be doing. Like, I get it. Maybe it's like your first day and you still don't know how to log into Opt. Okay, fine. We'll show you how to log into Opt. All right. But for the most part, most everybody on this call, you know what you should be doing. Like, just think about that thing that you don't want to do right now. And that's probably the first thing you should go do, right? Maybe it's pick up the phone and make some dials. Maybe it's call those people that you need to share the wealth of opportunity with, right? Like, you know what you need to do. But to see people, Marin, to see what you're doing, Gino, Max, Ben, like, we have multiple people who are going to have hundreds of people Friday at Ignite. And what did Casey tell us that's going to be? Just do the math. Every time the math works out, every person I get there, whether they go on to predict, it's like some people are going to go there and they're going to choose that this isn't for them. And that's fine. That's their choice. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to go and make some decisions. Start talking like Gino's brother was talking the next morning, right? There's some people that are going to go and do that. And every person I get to a conference like this, that's $5,000 that my business is going to be submitting on a monthly basis. So how big do you want your business? We said $1 million blueprint. $1 million blueprint. So if I want $1 million is a month business, like we didn't put a time on that $1 million. It could be $1 million a year business blueprint. You could have $1 million a month. You could have $1 million a week. Which blueprint do you want? Casey told you exactly how many people you need to have at Ignite to have $1 million of business. You get to define the time frame. You can have $1 million day like that, right, Brian? Like, it's like mathematically it's possible. And this is who we are. This is the team that we have. These are the people that we get to learn from. So I'm excited to continue to engage in this way, to get to hear from people like this, to get to challenge one another to grow, because that's what we're here to do. We're not here to plateau. We're not here to die. We're not here to go backwards. We're here to grow. So Brian, Griff, Brad, thank you for leading and having the conversation that you just were able to share with all of us, with those 4 individuals. And thank you to each of you for being willing to, one, be you and do what you're doing. Have that identity locked in on who you are, right? So that maybe someone else, by glimpsing you being you, they can say, guess what? I can be that too. Griff, Brian, anything before we wrap up? We're going to be back here in about a month. We still got to we'll work out the plans, but about a month from now, we're going to do this thing again. But any last words from you guys before we wrap up today?
They might not. But if you're ready to do this, type "I will" in the chat. They might not, but type "I will" in the chat if you're ready to do this. Because right now, this afternoon, that's the only answer you need to give yourself. There are people who are counting on you to give them this opportunity, just like I was counting on Edward, and he didn't know it yet. He didn't just talk about it, he was about it. And they might not, they might, but I will.
Yeah.
I'm going to go right back to what I said before about finding that, burning that fire inside yourself to make you want to just go out and work hard every day. Right? I know what it feels like to lose sight of that sometimes. And I know what it feels like to talk to another agent who loses that sometimes. And you got to find that inside of you, that reason for getting up, that reason for every day to work your very hardest. Going into Ignite right now, it's a sprint. It might feel like a long time from now, but that is right around the corner. And I promise you right now, you plant those seeds right now for Ignite, and you're going to be very happy you did. You got 30, 40 people sitting there next to you. Watch your business and see what happens. This thing is scalable. There's metrics that back up how to build a business here. It's like a franchise. It's all in place. You just have to put the work in. We're committed, man. We're ready to go.
Let's go. All right. So let's all just do exactly what Casey Watkins told us to do as we step into this last quarter of 2025. It's like we're moving. It's not time to move, like we're moving. So grab on, do what you need to be doing in this movement, and have that go for a year from now. And have that, how many people am I going to have Ignite with me and all the other stuff that we have to do? Because it's a business, there's other stuff to do. Yes, that stuff will start to fill itself in. If you do what Casey was talking about, you're checking with your mentor, making those moves and doing those things that you kind of don't want to do, but you know, this is what I should be doing. Man, guys, this is like 2026. We're not even worried about setting any New Year's resolutions, right? Because it's going to be done. It's going to be done. Because you're setting the intention right now. A year from today, where is your agency going to be? How many people are you going to have at Ignite? Let's go get it. Gentlemen, Appreciate you guys. Appreciate everybody being on. Let's go out. Let's close out this week strong, add value to others, and we'll see you guys back here in about a month. Thanks, everybody.